Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs dreamers and believers. And we ask you again one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
The moment has finally arrived for the state of Maine as Portland Hearts of Pine, after 18 months of waiting, will finally take part in a competitive match, as the Mainers have waited for this for not only 18 months, but for almost the entirety of their lives. Fitzpatrick Stadium is going to be the site for their first competitive match while they're still waiting. And they'll be taking on CD Faialense. And for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, what better place for a club that's going to be making its foray into any sort of competitive match than the oldest competition that this game has to offer, that sports has to offer in the United States. And the 110th edition is well underway as we are on match day number 3 of this great competition. LAFC, of course, are the defending champions. 96 teams, 64 professional, and 32 amateur, and that's exactly who CD Faialense falls under. And for this Hearts of Pine crew, they're going to be leaning on a man who's got some experience at the professional level, Ricky Lopez-Espin, and that's going to be Azad Liadi, who of course has experience dating back with Loudoun United in 2022.
He's a complete forward, can do a little bit of everything, and he's a ruthless finisher. Look for him to stay as high as he can. If Portland Hearts of Pine is going to have anything to say, he's going to be the thick of everything. Liadi needs to be massive for this home side.
And for CD Faialense, this is a club that is making its foray into U.S. Open. First professional soccer side in Maine history. Faialense going all the way back to 1971, but anybody who knows the history of this sport, not only in New England, but in this country, knows that Faialense has been right in the middle of it, and a heavy Portuguese population dating back to 50 years ago. And we'll take a look at the starting 11s. Ricky, both teams are going to line up in a 4-2-3-1, and it's anybody's guess as to what either of these teams is really going to look like.
And we had the ability to speak with Paul Correa, the head coach of CD Faialense, and he says, look, we want to get on the ball, we want to dictate tempo, but we also want to play on the front foot and really attack Hearts of Pine. So if you are Bobby Murphy, the head coach for Hearts of Pines, you're looking at Green and Vinberg, the 2 center backs. They need to be really clean on the ball and relieving some of that pressure, because if you do that, now you afford that top 4 to be expansive in nature.
Faialense, of course, qualifying through the local qualifiers, operating as one of the best teams in the New England area. Portland Hearts of Pine getting their bid by simply just existing, but that's only a recent development. And what a moment for the great state of Maine, not only to just have themselves a professional soccer team to call their own, but any professional sports team, because there are a few minor league affiliates in a few different sports in this state that sure claim the title of being a professional side, but this is the first independent professional team that the state of Maine has ever seen, and Hearts of Pine are ready to go for what should be a fantastic game in front of what we're being told a sellout crowd at Lewiston High School. Of course, and apologies, we do know that Fitzpatrick Stadium is going to be the home for Hearts of Pine as they're waiting to enter their new digs that's currently being renovated on May 4th in what's going to be their first home game in League One play. They will be taking part in League One competition starting next weekend, as they're going to be taking on Naples, who of course have already played in this competition as well. Adrenaline surely running high for both sides. CD Faialense making their debut in this competition. Hearts of Pine, first ever competitive match for a professional club in the state of Maine. Everything to play for. And as Bobby Murphy, the head coach of Hearts of Pine, joked that there's probably more tape on their amateur opponent than there is on them at this point in time. And we'll find out just exactly what this Hearts of Pine group is going to look like. The same goes for their opponents, CD Faialense, as we invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game. We officially have professional soccer in the great state of Maine. Tyler Terrence, along with Ricky Lopez-Espin, glad to have you with us for the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. This is first round action. A spot in the second round is very much on the line. Might we have ourselves a cup set alert and the ultimate party spoilers in CD Faialense? We'll have to wait and see. 90 minutes is ahead of us. If we're all level, we of course will head into two 15-minute halves of extra time. And if not, then we will head to penalties. And already you can tell the atmosphere is tremendous here, Ricky. And I can't say firsthand I've ever experienced what it's like to be a fan of a state that hasn't had a professional soccer team before. Neither can you, but I can only imagine that this has been a long time coming. Obviously 18 months dating back to September of 2023 when the team was actually announced. But now the moment is finally here. And you get to do it in a single elimination Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup style. Can't really think of a better way or introduction into professional soccer.
You and I had the ability to speak with Bobby Murphy, and we asked him about what it means to him to be the first head coach in history, to also playing the first competitive match for Hearts of Pine here. And he said, look, it's not very often that you have the ability to be the first of anything, let alone professional sports. So how do you take on this opportunity? How do you grow into this experience? I do think the first 10 to 15 minutes, how quickly can they get the crowd towards their back is going to be key and take this game to the amateur side.
Hearts are sporting the darker kits, while CD Faialense, the amateur side, also making their debut in this competition in their all-whites. Paul Correa is the manager in charge of this Cambridge-based group out of Massachusetts, and said that the New England soccer mill was swirling surrounding the CD Faialense side, just trying to figure out exactly who's still on the team, who's not. And Ricky, you know that when it comes to these amateur sides, the roster changes basically every single week because people have jobs, people have families, they're bouncing to other teams, and it's not exactly a stable situation as far as the personnel is concerned. There's a chance almost coming off for Titus Washington, the winger out of Seattle University and Sacramento State. Spent his collegiate years with both of those programs, and will be a deep throw in their own defensive third for Hearts.
It's really difficult for CD Faialense to really get any sort of rhythm because they're only training twice a week. And like you mentioned, Tyler, it's really difficult to just have that consistency in a training schedule, but also within their roster. So Bobby Murphy really joked, we have no idea what they're going to set up against, who we're going to play against. So the onus is on us. We have to take care of what we can control, and that is how quickly the ball moves and our effort.
That was Barbosa trying to lay it off and then just dumped into a dangerous area. As Barbosa getting back for defensive responsibilities. Walter Varela, number 10 for Hearts. Originally from Cape Verde. Last stop was with the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Hearts having to do some defending here. Nathan Messer, Providence College products, as well as Rhode Island FC, before joining Hearts. Doing some of the defending over on the left-hand side of the back line for Bobby Murphy, and it's how to play for a goal kick. And this Hearts side was brought to life by owners Gabe Hoffman-Johnson, John and Catherine Cully, as well as Tom T.C. Carron, longtime broadcaster for New England Sports Network. As this is threaded through to the right wing for Varela. Dinked into a dangerous area, but too close to Lucas Verge, the goalkeeper for CD Faialense.
Good action for the home side. Relieving that first line of pressure. I love the ball in from Binbrick. So now you afford Varela to go out and just chase the game. 1v1. You want to see a little bit more options in around that 18-yard box. Only two, which shows Washington and Liotti. Easy save in the end for Verge.
And here comes CD Faialense on the other side. Able to get the delivery away. And it's smothered by Hunter Morse, the goalkeeper for Hearts. Played his college ball at Western Michigan. Also spent some time with FC Cincinnati too. Really a mixed bag of talent levels for this Hearts side. And even Bobby Murphy was intrigued to see what his team was going to look like in a competitive setting. Here's Azad Liati, cutting it towards the byline, but running out of room. And you can already tell right off the bat, and this is exactly what Bobby Murphy told us, Ricky, is that he wants his side to get after the ball. When they lose it, win it back quickly, high energy, high octane. And he said Red Bull Light was sort of going to be the style and the comparison that you could make to any sort of professional side of the U.S.
So the pillars in that game model, right, is how quickly can you recover the ball once you lose it, and you want to play in their front foot. You want to play this game in the attacking third. We've seen Liati, we've seen Varela have the ability just to go and test this back line for Faialense. So if you are the two center backs, Nufi and Huluhan, communication and providing some coverage off one another, top priority for the amateur side.
Did have a, I guess you could call it a cup set with the Des Moines Menace, quote-unquote amateur side that was led by more or less the 2013 MLS All-Star group, led by Sasha Kleston, who ended up scoring a brace, upsetting the professional side, Sporting Kansas City too. But Kleston, Bradley Wright Phillips, Dax McCarty, double the age of some of the kids on that Sporting Kansas City 2 side. Is that a cup set for you or no?
No.
No? Okay. No. Glad we're on the same page.
But those conditions yesterday did not look fun to play in whatsoever.
Well, in these conditions here in Lewiston, Maine, not exactly scenic, but not nearly as diabolical as what we saw just outside of Kansas City last night. Washington trying to get on the better side of the CD Faialense defender. And now working in the corner to try to win a corner, and he's done just that.
Something small, but it can make a massive difference. It's a whereabouts of Liati just to go quick, and now you're running behind with Washington. Almost an innocent throw, and now you have the ability, your first set piece, to test Verge and this back line from CD Faialense.
Well, this crowd here on hand, standing room only, looking for that initial moment to erupt. Might have come off a set piece. They'll have to wait a little bit longer. Ollie Wright sends it back towards Messer. And Wright again will do well to get a delivery off. Tight quarters down this right wing for Hearts of Pine. And you can see Wright was just motioning towards Messer to whip it in with pace after he got it back.
And also the ball, he plays back into him. You need to take a little bit off of it so Ollie Wright can just run onto it, hit it first time. Here's Jaden Jones-Riley with the long throw-in. Played his college ball at the University of Dayton, was actually a draft pick for the Portland Timbers, and that one I think we can confidently say got away from him. Here's Jones-Riley again, got the delivery away, loose in the penalty area, and Barbosa able to clear it away. Here's the first ever signing for Hearts, Michel Poon-Angeron, native of Trinidad and Tobago, just 23 years of age. Actually came up to the Banfield Academy in Argentina, which has produced a number of fantastic professionals over the years. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that this CD Faialense side is operating without who their head coach Paul Correa said is their best player, Max Krause, who played a few great years for Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. And again, that's the fluid nature of these amateur sides and their roster. And every single one of these guys on the field right now for Faialense also holding a day job, or quote-unquote their real job, and making time during the course of the week for a little bit of soccer as well. Here's Jones-Riley. Little shimmy towards the byline, stands it up towards the back post, and the free header can't be steered on frame. Thumbs up of approval from Azad Liati, and the first real chance of the night goes to Hearts. We've seen Jones-Riley have their freedom just to join the attack and a little bit of skillfulness, but as Washington comes centrally, that opens up the space towards the back post. And as this ball's coming across the view, Liati, your first priority is just to get on target. You do not need to generate any sort of power. And if you do that, it's 1-0. What an opportunity that's missed for Hearts of Pine.
Liati, originally from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Actually came from Lexington, SC. This one, take it away, counterattack might be on. Liati again, goalkeeper off of his line, and the keeper's able to smother it up, at least momentarily, and eventually is going to send it away. Wasn't exactly an orthodox play from Lucas Verge, but anywhere will do.
You have to give credit to the decision-making because he commits to it for Verge. Not the initial one, the secondary ball. As a goalkeeper, if you do elect to come off of your line, you have to be quite sure that you're going to make any play on the ball. He does just that. But if you're Paul Correa, the number one message to Faialense is you need to be a little bit more compact in your structure, especially in central locations. Hearts of Pine are having too much time and space just to pick you apart, especially through this right-hand side.
The foul's going to be called against Hearts. And their name actually inspired by Kevin Farman, who's the quote-unquote Valentine's Bandit. He's the gentleman who puts the hearts all over the city of Portland during Valentine's Day, in addition to the name being inspired by the state tree of Maine, the eastern white pine. Now, we've all seen their stunning lighter kits that have the hearts decorated all over the jersey. And the soccer community has really embraced Hearts of Pine, exactly what they are, which is the first ever professional soccer club in the state's history, and it really should be celebrated as such as we continue to grow the beautiful game. And that's Guillermo Barbosa, product of University of Massachusetts Boston, who's down and being checked on by the referee, and it looks like he will be able to continue, at least for the moment. And Barbosa is operating in that number 10 role, which is where Max Krause is typically pulling the strings. And it's not like when you're talking about a professional side, Ricky, where if you're missing your best player, you have other guys to fill in, and they're going to sort of carry the load. When an amateur side is missing their best player, they really do feel it.
100%. So now the responsibility is within the front four. Owada, Black Leafy, Barbosa, Maddox, the list goes on and on for City Faialense. With Barbosa, Brazilian, and number 10, very technically gifted, is what we're hearing from the head coach. A player that you need him to get on the ball a little bit more and be more impactful.
Here's Jaden Jones-Riley. He's been busy on this right flank for Hearts. Ollie Wright connecting the dots for the home side. Whipped in into a dangerous area. Titus Washington got a touch to it. And the deliveries from out wide are causing CD Faialense some problems. And for now, it's a goal kick, but Hearts continue to knock on the door.
And it's the movement of Washington. Central of your screen, notice how he peels away from his individual marker. And as Ollie Wright picks up his head, that's when he breaks in. The timing is flawless. Just unable to simply guide it towards Verge. Good movement through that front two of Liati and Washington.
Well, the head coach for Hearts of Pine, Bobby Murphy, a 55-year-old from Dallas, Texas. Previously, before he took this job of a team that very much is a blank canvas, he was the head coach of St. Louis City 2. Proud program at the MLS Next Pro level, of course, which was originally under the tutelage of Bradley Carnell before they came into Major League Soccer. But Murphy's made a lot of stops in his career, including Clemson, New Hampshire College. But he actually started as an assistant way back when in the early 90s at Plymouth State under legendary Hobart College coach Sean Griffin. And that's where he initially got his start, but he's been all over the place, including as an assistant for Rio Grande Valley Toros in 2020, as well as an assistant for the Union Omaha in 2021 and 2022. And he was part of that magical run where they were able to knock off a couple of different Major League Soccer sides, including four-time U.S. Open Cup winner Chicago Fire in Soldier Field. you saw Guillermo Barbosa leave the field momentarily. And since then, Faialense has been playing with 10 men, and now Barbosa back out onto the field. Hart's looking to keep the ball here and just ping it around and make Faialense work for it. When Andron was barking for it, Messer instead will find Ollie Wright. And the back heel comes off beautifully, much to the delight of the sellout crowd here in Lewiston. And the shot takes a deflection, and Liotti was looking to get a beat on the deflection, but instead it's going to be another corner for Hearts of Pine.
60 minutes in, you just see the quality on the wide parts of the field. This time it's Ollie Wright and Messer. Messi does quite well to understand that both players are caught, so there's going to be some real estate. Unable to get clean contact, but yet again on their front foot. If you are Bobby Murphy, you have to be really pleased with how your side has started.
This one whipped into the near post. Wasn't exactly a good delivery. Didn't get past the first defender. And can Faialense play out? Some neat feet to get out of initial trouble. And this one launched towards the other wing. Retreating is the ever-pacey Jaden Jones-Riley, and he's able to clean it up. That's where the amateur side, Ricky, it looks like is going to struggle transitioning from back to front and that pace of play, and also must be said the conditioning as well, because they're not playing every single day. They're not paid to do it like the group that they're going up against. And Ollie Wright with the same exact back heel for Messer once more. It's deja vu all over again. This one gets all the way across, loose in front. Here's Varela! There you have it. First ever goal for Hearts of Pine, and it's Walter Varela.
Fantastic bit of play, but notice how stretched and how expanded CD Faialense is. Ollie Wright understands he has his right back committed, so that affords Messer to get himself in an actual position. As the ball pops out, get it on target, you give yourself a chance. A lot of bodies in front of Verge, unable to make clean contact with the ball as it comes back across. And what a moment that is for Hearts of Pine to find their first goal in club history.
Well, from the humble beginnings of Bunker Hill Community College, the Cape Verde native, his last stop was Chattanooga Red Wolves, played with Albion San Diego in 2022, as well as Brockton FC and Vallejo FC. And finally, finding himself in the great state of Maine, and he will have his name etched into Maine soccer history forever. The first ever goal in club history in a competitive setting. And it comes by way of Walter Varela.
Now, what does the reaction look like for CD Faialense? Obviously, you talk to any single coach at an amateur level, you want to weather the storm. First 20 minutes, you cannot concede. And then hopefully try to get yourself into a rhythm and get comfortable within the circumstances of this game. Defensively, a little bit too spread out, and that's why you're getting beaten by Hearts of Pine. Too much time and space just to pick their runs.
And here comes Hearts of Pine again. Hungry for more. Out of the reach of Liotti. Ollie Wright looking for the curler, and he certainly had the interest of the goalkeeper, Lucas Verge, who just moments ago conceded. And right now, Hearts of Pine, too much for Faialense.
Ollie Wright, right-footer playing the left-hand side, so he always wants to challenge centrally. Notice how he just opens up his hips, and what he's trying to do is bend it towards that far post. Not enough movement on the ball. Good action, though, from Ollie Wright. Just no real presence in central locations for Faialense. So that's why you start to see Langlois and Poon Angeron just on the ball to pick up their head, clear passing lanes into that front line. And this is what you cannot have happen if you are Bobby Murphy. Frustration is going to start to set in. Do not want to get caught anything off the ball.
Ollie Wright stumbling over the ball. Faialense take over. There's that press that Bobby Murphy mentioned. And it pays off for the moment. Washington winning it, and then a crunching challenge along the byline, but it's another corner.
And they Kurtz, thank you to Maine Love for keeping us hydrated with Maine.
There were probably a lot of the members of the starting 11 for Bobby Murphy, Ricky, that were thinking about scoring that first ever goal for Hearts of Pine. But Walter Varela able to claim it for his own, and a big moment here at Lewiston High School, again the temporary home before the group moves to Fitzpatrick Stadium, which is undergoing renovations. Again, the delivery not really bypassing the first line of defense on the set pieces. Pretty good skill from Yanis Laklifi. He was a Riverhawk of UMass Lowell. Looks like there's a brief stoppage. We're still trying to figure out on our end what exactly it's for. And while we are in the middle of Ramadan, of course, with sunset just happening, it's giving the players who are observing Ramadan an opportunity to break their fast. Incredible crowd on scene here for a historic moment for the beautiful game in the great state of Maine. I don't think it was ever a question, no matter what the weather here in Lewiston, that this place was going to be packed. And of course, they are accustomed to less than ideal weather. But here's the first ever goal, Ricky.
The play in the field is giving them something to cheer about. How many times have we seen this action? But what I love is just the three players aggressive and getting themselves into a dangerous area. Yes, it pops out a bit fortuitous for Varela, but like you said, you put it on target, you give yourself a chance, and what a moment in history for this club.
Set piece is low and cleared away by Ali Wright. Barbosa couldn't bring it down. Instead, Washington trying to help it along for the on-rushing Nathan Messer. And it's out of play and back to Hearts. Here's Jones-Riley.
Interesting watching Hearts of Pine build out. Now you have your two center backs, Green and Vinberg, spread apart a little bit, and one of the two center midfielders play a little bit deeper to supply that little bit of security. So now that affords Messer and Jones-Riley the ability to be more aggressive, create an overload on the wide areas of the field. So now Washington and Ollie Wright can come centrally underneath Liati. 25 minutes in, fantastic stuff in terms of their tactical awareness from Hearts of Pine.
Again, Hearts of Pine will be competing in USL League One, third division in the American Soccer Pyramid. It's the same level that Union Omaha were operating at when they were able to make a run in this competition. Jones-Riley. That similar pattern as they were trying to find Liati. And here comes the press from Bobby Murphy's group. Goal scorer giving away possession momentarily. And Poon Angeron now attempting to connect the dots. Here's Kamali Green striding forward from the center back position. Washington back for Ollie Wright. Just dinking one in, but the offside flag should be up. But the referee will say play on. Were you expecting more out of this Faialense side?
I think you and I both were. And obviously not easy to deal with the pressure. I haven't really strung any sort of rhythm in, connected some passes. So if I am Paul Correa, the message to my boys is risk versus reward. Doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to be effective now. You're down a goal within the first 30 minutes here. Moments like this, you get your big bodies forward and just put the ball in the mixer and really test Morris, the goalkeeper, and cause a little bit of chaos between him and his back line.
Here's Titus Washington putting the pressure on, but his first touch was always too heavy. Long ball the other way, and looked like Arlati might have been the one who was onside, and that's what Paul Correa and the Faialense bench is upset about, right at the bottom left of your screen.
I'm with you, Tyler. I do not think Arloti's offside whatsoever. If anything, it's like Leafy, who's the one who's about a yard off.
Obviously difficult to tell from our camera angle, but just based upon what we were able to see, what you were able to see at home. And of course the reactions from the Faialense technical staff. Jones-Riley towards the byline, and a cumbersome touch to say the least. And Ricky, you've called games at more or less every single level that this country has to offer. I mean, when you're looking at this Hearts of Pine group after about 27, 28 minutes, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this looks like a very well-organized group and a group that certainly has been playing longer together than just about 28 minutes in a competitive setting.
I was about to say, someone walked in, turned on the TV, and saw this Hearts of Pine side. There's no way you think this is their first competitive match whatsoever. Just with the rotations, how comfortable they are, how organized they are. On and off the ball, how many times have we seen them press in unison and force a turnover? Talk about a preseason. Bobby Murphy was able to create what he wanted from that blank canvas. About 30 minutes into the Open Cup, looks like he got it just right.
Well, he did say to us that they simply just sort of took a look at how they wanted to play, what the philosophy was going to be, which in part is sort of the coach that you bring in and what Bobby Murphy believes to be the right way to play soccer, at least his way to play soccer. And then they reverse engineered the roster through that. So they wanted to be high intensity, they wanted to press, they wanted to get after it. So then they simply tried to go after players who fit that model. I know it's groundbreaking and that sounds like rocket science, but it simply can't be as easy as that. As that's taken on the first time, and Azad Liati with a clinical finish. Hearts of Pine up 2-0.
Highlighted him for a reason. Right side of your screen. He's going to come alive as this ball pushes wide. It's all about his movement in around that 18-yard box and the timing. Great little change of pace, and just let momentum do its thing. Simply just redirect it towards that near post. No chance for Verge. And just like that, Hearts of Pine double their lead.
And again, the goal coming from a failed clearance from Faialense, and Azad Liati came flying in and made such sweet connection with the ball. And the party rages on here in Lewiston. Well, there's no better way to get the crowd involved, to get the fan base involved, to get the state involved. And like scoring 2 goals inside of the first 30 minutes. You couldn't have asked for a better start. And Jones-Riley will go all the way back for Hunter Morse. It really is a crapshoot, though, with these amateur sides, Ricky, because, again, the rosters change so much. I mean, I was on the call for the Westchester United game when they were taking on Loudoun, and Westchester, for the first half, looked like the professional side. They looked like the better group. And keep in mind, that was a second division side in Loudoun United who operate in the USL Championship. But you really just don't know exactly what each situation for each club presents for these amateur groups. And I think with Faialense, we're seeing a side that maybe isn't sporting some of their best players and potentially just overwhelmed by the moment maybe, and overwhelmed by the pressure and the intensity from Hearts of Pine.
I think fitness plays a massive factor because you look at this Hearts of Pine side, they've had, what, 6-7 weeks of preseason. They're going at it. This is their job, to stay fit. On the other side, you alluded to it, a lot of these players, or most of these players for Faialense, have a quote-unquote 9-to-5 job, so they do this on the side. So yes, the fitness is probably not there. So every single time when you talk about an amateur taking on a professional team, I think it's so important to get through the first 30 minutes without conceding, because now if you do that, you don't have to go out and chase the game. You don't have to get expanded. You do not have to have gaps open up, because now for the remainder of this game, Paul Correa and CD Faialense, they have to go and chase it if they want a result. And doing that, you leave yourself vulnerable going back the other way. And the second part to that, Tyler, I do think it gives them confidence to say, look, we can go like for like with the professional side. We've done quite well the first 30 minutes, which is obviously not the case here. That's why I think that's a massive difference that people don't really understand, the difference between professional and amateur.
And to be fair, there was a great article in the Blazing Musket, of course, which is one of the outlets for the New England Revolution, of course, independently run. And they talked about how the vibe at CD Faialense was sort of for guys who wanted to play the beautiful game, who still wanted to stay involved with soccer, but didn't necessarily want all of the, I guess you can call them headaches, with eating properly, not being able to enjoy an adult beverage every now and again, and also people who, after they were done playing, could enjoy an adult beverage and enjoy some pizza. And that's not the case for Hearts of Pine. You're probably on a stricter diet than that. But while that may be the difference between the two sides right now as far as the scoreline is concerned, it's very much the difference off the field as well. As this is sent across the middle, and Yanis Laklifi was right there, and it looked like it should be a corner. And indeed, that is going to be the case for Faialense.
First time that we've seen Faialense get themselves into that final third. Love the switch. Petro does quite well to elude Jones Riley. And Laklifi was a player that Paul Correa highlighted on our phone call. Strong number 9, good finisher, workhorse, the way that he described him. Good opportunity for Faialense here to cut this lead in half.
Well, they do say that goals change games, and this would certainly go a long way for the confidence of CD Faialense. Whip towards the back post, and that was an excellent ball. Keeper was off his line. Ball bounces inside the penalty area and eventually cleared away after some shoddy defending from Hearts.
Good ball.
Excellent ball for Titus Washington. Running right at the defender. Losing control momentarily. Looked like he was trying to find the feet of Nathan Messer, and it just simply trickled out of play. Into the feet of Laklifi, but given right back. Ollie Wright trying to get it back from the goal scorer, Liati. About 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Tyler Terrens along with Ricky Lopez-Espin. Glad to have you with us wherever you might be watching. Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup first round action in match day number 3 of this first round. 110th edition of this tournament. And we've got Portland Hearts of Pine in their inaugural game as a club. And we've got CD Faialense making their debut in this tournament. And right now the goal scorers, the first ever goal, Walter Varela. for Hearts of Pine, and then a few minutes later, Azad Liadi with a fantastic volley to make it 2-0. But more or less, it has been all Hearts for the opening 35.5 minutes. Now a set-piece opportunity again for Faialense. They've had a couple of them over the past 3 minutes. As that shot takes a deflection, could have gone anywhere. And Hunter Morris is glad to see it spray wide. And another corner for Faialense. And Hearts of Pine intensity just dropping off a little bit here, Ricky.
Give credit to CD Faialense. They understand this is an opportunity that we can really capitalize on. The quality has been flawless from the amateur side, and yet again another set piece, an in-swinger. You want this to be right on top of that 6-yard box. Very disappointing in terms of the quality from that.
I know it's early days, Ricky, but I've been asking all of my analysts this over the past couple of days, but give me your favorite to win the competition this year?
It's tough.
Yeah. I'm not asking easy questions. It's no fun.
I'm trying to think.
Well, it obviously is a mixed bag as far as the quality for Major League Soccer sides that are entering the tournament this year.
What about you?
Dare I say that 4-time U.S. Open Cup winners,
The Fire?
the Chicago Fire under Greg Berhalter, might make a little bit of noise this year. Just a guess.
No bias.
No, none whatsoever. Couldn't be me.
I think you have to look at maybe Sacramento Republic in USL. I think with Neil
You're
Collins.
not the first person to say that.
Really?
Yeah? No.
I think Neil Collins, obviously the coach, and took over the success that he had at the Rowdies overseas, their quality as well once the final couple years back.
This one picked out of the air, and Faialense are claiming it took another deflection, and we will have another corner for the amateur side.
What about Sacramento Chicago Fire final?
I think Sacramento Republic are about to get to a second final in the last 4 years.
When you put it that way, it's really difficult.
I talked you out of it that quickly, did I? Bit of a waste there from Faialense, trying to be cute on the short corner. Crowd wanted a foul, and they'll get one.
This has to be a bit frustrating. You do all the hard work to win yourself a set piece, and who knows what happens when you put the ball into the mixer. We talked about in a cup competition, execution. No need to try to play the prettiest of footballs when you're down 2-0. Just get one and make it a little bit interesting. And corner kicks play a fantastic opportunity to do just that.
Liadi. Bumped off the ball by Garrett Leahy. One of a few members of CD Faialense who played at Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. Traditionally rather sound program in the Patriot League. Good battle over on the far side, and Nathan Messer able to win out. Touched along, and here comes Faialense, but look at the pace and the recovery. It looked like there was a whistle beforehand. Another free kick for Faialense.
Desired location is right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark. Let one of your big center backs, the Nufi and Huluhan, just go up and get it. Bottom of your screen, like Leafy, and acres of space.
One driven towards the back stick. Lachleafy was waiting for it, but initially won by Hartz. Here's Leahy. Wasn't a convincing clearance. Lachleafy just touching it along and eventually mashed away.
Just connecting that first pass is really important when you're under so much pressure, because now you afford Liati, Washington, Barea just to go out and run. Be very direct with their movement, but give credit to Faialense. Squeezing the game, keeping everything in front of them for the last 5 to 10 minutes here.
Well, they certainly make Hartz think about it. Hasn't been as straightforward for the last 10-15 minutes, as Ricky mentioned, but still have really failed to generate a clear-cut opportunity. So there was some good play for a brief moment. Titus Washington couldn't quite connect the dots, and then foul in the middle of the field. And it'll be a set piece to Hartz. And it looks like we're going to have our first substitution of the night as Alessandro Negri is going to come on.
Number 16.
And it is going to be Guilherme Barbosa, who picked up a knock inside of the first 5 minutes, Ricky, and I have to imagine this is not a planned substitution.
3 minutes before halftime, you burn a window. I think it's something that Barbosa was unable to continue on, as Negri would take his place. I think he'll play in that central location.
Decent ball sent in. Liani takes it on the first time again. Bobby Murphy going to be disappointed with the energy levels and how they've dropped off significantly?
I think so. I think obviously up 2-0, a bit comfortable. You cannot let complacency creep in. Talk about building a culture, building a mentality. It starts here in whatever competition that you're in. Seems as the movement ahead of the ball is just stifled just a tad bit. We haven't seen Washington as mobile. Barea as well, Liati haven't had as many touches as we saw in the first part of this first half.
We're hearing unconfirmed right now, 4 minutes of stoppage time. Washington was trying to send Ollie Wright on his way. Anywhere will do for Faialense, and I have to imagine they'd be pretty pleased if they can get to the locker room only down 2-0. You buy into that whole most dangerous lead in the game type deal?
Sometimes, and sometimes I don't.
Okay. Real political answer from you.
You?
Washington. See what I did there? I just kept doing play-by-play, so I didn't have to answer the question.
Okay, well, now I'm going to ask.
You know, it's just a lead. It's just not as good of a lead as 3-0 because one goal changes the entire game. So, no, I don't buy into it. It's just simply still a close game. It's 2-0.
The most dangerous lead?
No, there's no such thing as a dangerous lead.
That's what I agree with. Sometimes, I mean, but to be fair, we always, more times often than not, you see a team come back from 2-0 down.
As opposed to 1-0?
Or 3-0.
Well, definitely 3-0.
So technically most dangerous.
But it sounds like but when you say it like that, when you're saying 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in soccer, it sounds like you're saying you'd rather be up 1-0 than be up 2-0.
Which is false.
Of course.
Yeah.
But whatever lunatics came up with that phrase, believed that at some point in time.
And a lot of people believe it too.
Ollie Wright can't get it past the first defender, and Hearts will have to reset their set piece.
And an ongoing theme from Ollie Wright, unable to break that first line of pressure. And that's always key in set piece opportunities to give your side a chance. He's an interesting player, obviously had some success at Huntsville, Ollie Wright, so he knows what it's like to be a part of a first team of a club, him, Liati. So you have to think Bobby Murphy leans on those type of players and those individuals to set the standard and examples day in and day out.
Great atmosphere here at Lewiston High School as Portland Hearts of Pine with a 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Altaverea, the first in Hearts history, and then Azad Liati with a volley that was hit ever so sweetly. Titus Washington trying to win it back. Referee didn't feel like there was a foul, and now a counter-attacking opportunity on the other end. Here's Liati, 1v1. Puts the brakes on, and the cavalry arrive for Faialense.
Center of your screen, watch the recognition from Liati. He knows the spaces, so he just peels off. Every single player, Faialense gets caught ball watching, but you have to continue with the momentum if you're Liati. No need to try to bring it back and be a little bit cute. And doing that, you allow Faialense just to get their bodies back and make life that much more difficult. Little moments like that, you have to think complacency plays a factor.
And it's going to be a yellow card. I believe it was Sean Vinberg, Long Island native, who picked it up, played his college soccer at Division III powerhouse SUNY Oneonta. Is that a yellow for you, Ricky?
Not at all. It's a foul, yes. But yellow, that's where I have a bit of a question.
That's a love tap in some parts of Maine.
But now it's a good test. Now if you're Vinberg, how do you play with the yellow card to build the trust from your manager, Bobby Murphy?
Set piece curled in. Morse punches it away with two strong fists, and the foul's going to be called against Faialense. Vinberg wins the header, further by Langlois. And here comes Faialense, looking to make some noise before the halftime whistle. Opportunity pops out, big collision. And despite a world-class finish The foul's going to come out the other way. That was Dennis Petro, the Slovakian, who absolutely buried that in the upper 90. The referee calls the foul. It looked like it was a 50-50 challenge, at least from our vantage point. Perhaps there was a little bit at the bottom of the boot showing. A lot to unpack here, Ricky.
This touch from Leahy, I think what gets him in trouble is the studs are exposed, but I do think it's a bit soft. But notice this strike.
What a finish.
Laces through this ball, gives it a little bit of English and Petro. No chance for Morse.
Langlois.
The greatest goal never scored in Faialense history.
Correction. Yellow card issued against CD Faialense number 6, Garrett Leahy.
So Leahy goes into the book just moments after Sean Vinberg dig, and it feels like the referee is finally at the stage of the game where he feels like he can give out yellow cards.
Well, you have to think it's because the studs are exposed.
But I thought you could make the argument that Vinberg's studs were showed as well.
That's the only thing that I can be.
And I'll tell you what, if I'm Paul Correa, I'm just as angry, if not angrier, than he already is, and he just picked up a yellow card. And that's going to do it for the first half here in Lewiston. And the crowd certainly have gotten their money's worth, at least in the first 45 minutes. The first ever goal for Hearts of Pine scored by Walter Varela, and then the second goal scored by Azad Liadi on a fantastic volley. And it's Hearts who leave it 2-0 over Faialense at the end of the first half. Ricky Lopez-Espin, your thoughts?
I think if you are Bobby Murphy, the message is going to be complacency. You cannot allow that to creep in because you see Faialense does have quality that they can make you pay. And if you're Paul Correa, yes, you feel hard done by at that last second, but you need to play a little bit more direct and cause some more chaos because Hearts of Pine haven't seemed that convincing within their back line.
Welcome back to Lewiston, Maine, where Portland Hearts of Pine are 2-0 up on the CD Faialense in the first round of the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And while we have a moment, let's take a deeper dive into the club who's going to be making their foray into professional soccer as the first ever professional soccer team in the history of Maine.
Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine. Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine.
This is Maine. From first light to midnight. You can smell the pine. You can taste the salt. You can feel it in your heart. Our woods, our water, woven together across the state. A fabric that binds us. The fabric of Maine. Worn by you and yours. A future classic for all who have their hearts in Maine.
I'm here in Lewiston, Maine. Tyler Terrence along with Ricky Lopez-Espin. Glad to have you with us here for this first round coverage of the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And we've had plenty of action already, Mr. Lopez-Espin. We haven't had too many cup sets. We talked about the Des Moines Menace, the cup set fraud, if you will. But there have been some other games that are going on running parallel to this one. We've got South Georgia Tormenta winning 1-0 over amateur side Harbor City. Then we've got to go in between Carolina Core FC and then UPSL national champion Soda City later.
You have to think Soda City is one of the favorites in the cup set because just their name, right? An awesome name, Soda City. Tacoma Defiance and Washington Athletic Club. You and I will have that one. That's going to be an interesting one. And FC Cincinnati, too, who for most of the part in 2024 were the best team in MLS Next Pro, and they're going to play an amateur side. What does that look like? Jordan Madison, Duluth FC, an interesting one to the top right of your screen.
All right, we're going to step aside one more time. Amidst halftime here in Maine, and Hearts of Pine with a 2-0 lead over amateur side CD Faialense in their first ever game as a club over the debutantes themselves in this competition. Don't go anywhere.
Portland Hearts of Pine begin play in USL League One on March 29th when they face Naples FC in Naples, Florida. Tune into ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock next Saturday to cheer the boys on from afar.
Getting set for second half kickoff between Portland Hearts of Pine and CD Faialense. Tyler Terrence along with Ricky Lopez-Espin. And we are so glad that you chose to join us for the first round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And Ricky, let's take a look at how it all went.
had some quality as well. Going back the other way, you start to see them show a little bit of quality. Like Leafy, unable to get clean contact on it. And another opportunity here. Is it a foul? Is it not a foul? I don't think it's a foul. Right, this is some striker in Petro that does not count.
But helter-skelter and making life difficult for the opposition.
I think you want to do a little bit more of that. Continue to find success with what you did in that first half. So I expect Hearts of Pine to be very aggressive to start the second half.
No subs from what we're hearing. We did have one early substitution from Paul Correa and CD Faialense, and an injury to Guilherme Barbosa. Alessandro Negri replaced him. And let's see if CD Faialense can make some noise here in the second half, or will Hearts of Pine run away with their first ever competitive match in their club's history. The first ever professional soccer team in Maine. 45 minutes away from their first ever win. Again, I'm Tyler Terrence, and joining me is the legendary Ricky Lopez-Espin, as we are wrapping up match day number 3 of the first round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Quite simply put, one of the best tournaments on the face of the planet when you boil it down. Celebrating 11 decades of this beautiful competition. We've had some truly epic moments in the past, and we're just waiting for what the story, or who the story is going to be this year, because there's always one who's going to make some noise and progress a little bit further than anybody would have thought, or perhaps a lot further. Must we remind you of Mark Briggs in the Sacramento Republic second division side, when every Major League Soccer side was participating, got all the way to the final in 2022. Eventually fell to Oscar Pareja, Facundo Torres, and Orlando City, as Ali Wright with a disgusting little nutmeg, much to the pleasure of the crowd, and couldn't quite connect the dots after that. Should we even go back to New Mexico United in their first year of play in the USL Championship, getting to a quarterfinal in 2019.
What I love about the Open Cup, as a player, as an organization, as a coach, it gives you a chance. It just gives you an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for. To bet on yourself, one of the best things about this tournament.
Some amateur sides that have made some noise in the past. The Florida Soccer Soldiers, as this one is ripped from distance and deflected out for a corner. Baltimore Christos a number of years ago, who eventually got to play against Major League Soccer side DC United after getting rid of a couple of professional sides on the way to the third round. And Hearts will take their time with this corner. Very much in control. Goals from Altaverea and Azad Liadi. Again, as we mentioned, next weekend will be the first league game for Hearts of Pine in League One, third division in the American Soccer Pyramid, against Naples. They'll be on the road, of course, until May 4th when Fitzpatrick Stadium is ready. This takes a deflection off Titus Washington and cleared away by Garrett Leahy and collected by Ali Wright. Correa. Jones-Riley. Michel Punanger, the first ever signing for Hearts of Pine, operating with the number 8 on his back tonight. It's an excellent whipped-in ball, and initially dealt with by the Faialense back line. Nicholas Awada, product of the University of New Hampshire and Bryant College, was tasked with trying to hold up the ball, and Faialense, at least for the moment, can breathe.
Good recognition from Leahy. Once he recovers this ball, his first look is just a change of point of attack. Gives Faialense an outlet here between Awada and Salawu.
Long throw and ends up working out. Mike Leafy tried to pull the trigger and eventually cleared away by Jones Riley, and it's all the way back for Faialense to collect. Maine hasn't exactly been a powerhouse of a state in terms of producing professional soccer players over the years. A couple do come to mind, though, particularly at the Major League Soccer level, of course. Seattle Sounder great Roger Levesque, in addition to Wyatt Omsberg, who's now playing his professional soccer with the New England Revolution under the tutelage of Caleb Porter after spending a few years with the Chicago Fire.
To have Mimic as our official safety partner, the well-being of our
Omsberg ended up playing his college soccer at Dartmouth, and from the Ivy League was able to make a nice career for himself in Major League Soccer.
Got drafted with him.
You did?
Wyatt Omsberg, yeah.
It all comes together. See, that's why I brought it up.
Great guy, fantastic defender.
Challenge right at the edge of the penalty area. And it looked for a moment like the referee was actually pointing to the penalty spot with the direction of his arm, but it is just going to be a free kick.
And saw the quality from the outside back in the first half. Petro yet again very comfortable with the ball at his feet. I think a referee gets this one right. About a yard outside that 18-yard box. It's not where the player falls, it's where the initial contact is. Really good opportunity here for Faialense just to put this thing into the mixer.
Again, there's been a few moments where Hearts of Pine fell asleep at the wheel a little bit, conceding another set piece. This is whipped in at the near post. And for the first time tonight, Hunter Morris has to make a real save. And he's not thrilled with the durability of the walls. It just went right through it.
Defending 101, the wall needs to stick together and jump in unison. Both players duck out of the way, force the hand of Morris. Good save in the end.
Less of a wall, more of one of those doggy doors at the bottom of the door that flaps open. Still in the neighborhood for Faialense to be able to potentially poke home. Hooked back in. And now Liati tripped up. That could be deemed a yellow card for Faialense's Jean-Luc Arlati. Looks like the prevention of a promising attack.
Has to be. To not have a transition a moment right in front of our center referee, Andrew Parada.
Arlati was a Terrier with Boston University in his college days.
Unable to find that same type of flow and rhythm. Hard to find that we saw early in that first half. I don't know if it's trying to do too much or trying to overcomplicate things. But if you are Bobby Murphy, you're looking at putting Anderon and Langlois, those two players in that central location, just to put their foot on the ball and get the confidence back within the side.
Played by Punanjaran and turning out of trouble is Varela. And Leone's offside.
See the frustration from Molly Wright. He's right. No need to force it when there's just so many bodies on that side of the field. Vinberg, the ball circulation, that's when you can play a little bit quicker to penetrate the lines of CD Faialense, because essentially they're all over the place. There's a massive gap underneath their two strikers, but unable to really exploit that is Hearts of Pine.
Here comes the pressure again from Bobby Murphy's group. Played by Messer, trying to get the return pass from Punanjaran. Here is the Trinidad and Tobago native with some bullish work in the middle of the park. And Langlois will go all the way back. We mentioned the ownership group for this Hearts of Pine club, and Gabe Hoffman-Johnson really the one who got it off the ground with the help of John and Catherine Cully, who are real estate developers in the area. Then we mentioned Tom T.C. Karen, who's a longtime broadcaster for NESN, the beloved sports network in New England. And just to tie the whole thing together, Tom Karen's son, Robbie Karen, actually played college soccer for Hobart College, which is the same college in which the guy who gave Bobby Murphy his start as a coach, Coach Griffin, is now the head coach of. So it's all connected here with the Hearts of Pine.
Need a family tree.
Foul is going to be called against Hearts of Pine. And for those of you wondering what exactly Hobart College is, beautiful Division III school tucked away in Western New York in Geneva in wine country, operating in the Liberty League, have been multiple Liberty League champions, made deep runs into the NCAA tournament, and selfishly, my alma mater as well.
Quite the legend there here, right?
Just for my ability to run my mouth at the referee, for nothing else.
Quality of a left peg.
Looks like it's Dennis Petro who's down.
There's an extension, a little bit of the right arm from Vinberg that catches Petro. Great to see him on his own power. You see him right there signaling to our center referee. And Vinberg already on a yellow card, needs to be very careful when he does step off of his line. Especially in the build-out phase, when Angeron and Langlois are operating this same sort of real estate right now. You see them about 10 yards away from one another. As a double pivot, you always want to have one on the weak side that gives you an outlet to go out the other way. Part of the problem for Hearts of Pine, unable to get any sort of rhythm through the attacking phase of this game.
Langlois. Early delivery. Again, doesn't get past the first defender. Good interplay here. A couple of side steps and then eventually collected by Lucas Verge. Did you ever think about throwing together sort of like a Des Moines Menace Avengers type team when you were done playing, or when you were done, you were officially done?
Yeah. I think my last time I touched the ball was TST. That did not go well.
It's a long-range effort that's denied by the heel of Mirko Newfie, product of Merrimack College.
It's better here.
A little bit more purpose and intent with the ball for Bobby Murphy's group. That's what he told us in our conversation leading up to it. Was Ollie Wright had totally done up the defender and was hoping that his teammate was on the same page, but they weren't even reading the same book. Some struggles here for CD Faialense. Have you ever been to Maine, Ricky?
I have not.
No?
I'm assuming you have?
I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple times.
What part?
Portland, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes. Some of the coldest cold I've ever experienced in my life. I think my ears were bright red and frozen after being outside for about 20 minutes in the heart of February.
I was about to ask, what time of the year did you go? Oh.
We've got a brief injury over on the far side for CD Faialense. I was there in the middle of February, actually, for the America East Women's Basketball Championship while I was covering the University of Vermont women's basketball team on 620 AM WVMT. But that's neither here nor there. But how about the crowd here? Enduring the weather, enduring the elements that Mother Nature threw their way. But it wouldn't be the first ever game in professional soccer Maine history if it wasn't inclement weather. But a packed house at Lewiston High School. Again, they're still waiting for Fitzpatrick to finish up their renovations in the heart of Portland. And that'll be ready for their May 4th game in League One play. Well, Upper New England's becoming sort of the epicenter for soccer in this country, Ricky. I don't know if you heard, but there was a state that Mainers are certainly familiar with. University of Vermont, men's soccer national champions, and bringing home the first ever national championship to the state of Vermont, and now Hearts of Pine has their first ever club. Before you know it, they're going to be running the soccer scene in this country.
It's just so good for the game to continue to grow. All corners of our country. But what a run that Vermont team went on. Whew. Good for them.
Washington was trying to get rid of it. And he's able to draw the foul. Hearts of Pine go quickly. Save on the doorstep, and it's Leotti. His second of the night. Hearts his third. Lewiston erupts. And they are loving their first ever professional soccer club here in the state of Maine. And why not?
It's a great strike from Washington initially. Stays with the play. A bit casual, but I love the heads-up nature and the movement from Leotti. He just wants it that much more. As any attacker should, always following up. Verge does not deal with it nearly well enough. And Leotti says, thank you very much. I'll get my brace within the first 65 minutes here. And Hearts of Pine get their third.
Zad Leotti, of course, on loan from Lexington. Actually went to Saginaw Valley State, a Division II school, before he eventually transferred to Division I Georgia Southern. And we've got a couple more substitutions for Paul Correa and CD Faialense.
Substitutions for CD Faialense. Coming into the match, number 11.
So it's going to be Liam Ireland. In addition to
Liam Ireland.
Damian Altidore.
For number 18, Nicholas Awada. Hearts go scored by number 9, Azad Liadi.
A little more than an hour played here, and Azad Liadi's got 2 goals. Montevideo's got the first ever goal in Hearts of Pine history, and they are very much on their way to their first win in club history. Licking their chops at the possibility of playing in a second round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And much like Northern Colorado Hailstorm a couple of years ago, playing their first competitive game in this competition. Some problems here for Faialense again. Some space over on the back stick. Instead, threaded through for Ollie Wright.
Too slow. Too slow from Ollie Wright. You have 2 options. Wrap your left foot around it and put it to the path of Liadi. Or when you cut it back, this ball needs to be played into a trailing run.
Messer. A trailing header from Liadi, wasn't too far away. But A will track it down. That one launched out of play by Faialense, and they are holding on for dear life right now, hoping that this game isn't going to get truly ugly. Meanwhile, the Hearts of Pine crowd showed up by the droves here in Lewiston, hoping for a rout and hoping for more goals. Ricky, do you have a favorite U.S. Open Cup memory, either as a fan, broadcaster, player?
Broadcaster last year. Oh, you and I. Well, I was thinking about round 1. I did the Ballard Spokane game. Spokane scored at the last minute, which was awesome. But also our game, Sacramento, Seattle.
You know, I thought you were about to butter me up, and I was like, where's he going with this? Is he really about to say me? You didn't even remember who you called the game with until now. Layoff intended for Ollie Wright, and it'll be a free kick here for Hearts.
That was the highlight of my Open Cup career, which I made my debut in this.
Who scored the goals for Seattle that night, if you remember?
Jordan Morris.
That's one. If you get the second one, I'll be impressed.
It was an academy kid.
Yep.
Center midfielder.
Yeah.
Not Leva. No.
Josh Atencio. Yeah. You weren't going to get there. It's okay.
I was close. And then for Sac, it was a header at the back post from a corner. Sebastian Herrera.
There you go.
2 out of 3, I'll take it, right?
You know what? I should stop doubting you and stop listening to the non-believers, because you do know what you're talking about.
Non-believers.
This is a long-range effort. It's spectacular. It's another for Hearts. And it's their left back, Nathan Messer. Golazo.
Scenes. Fantastic strike from Messer. Notice the way that he approaches it. The last second just closes up his hips. Up and over the wall, always bending away from Verge. No chance. And you love to see this, what it means to not only the players on the field, but every single person in attendance. 4-0, Hearts of Pines.
Jump
What a strike. What a night. The goals are cascading down on CD Faialense and Hearts of Pine, turning it into a bit of a rout here in Lewiston.
Favorite memory of the Open Cup for you? I know that answer.
I think it's got to be on the call for Sacramento Republic beating Sporting Kansas City in the semifinal in penalty kicks. Could there be another one here for Ollie Wright? Verge able to make the save.
More than the final last year.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that I was able to be on the call for a second division side beating a Major League Soccer team to get to a final.
That's true.
For the first time since 2008.
And what a call that was from you. It's in history.
Looks like a couple subs getting set to come on for Bobby Murphy. Titus Washington taking over. Liotti is sitting right on the back line. It's a bit of a track meet right now for Hearts as they're just sort of teeing up and hoping that the ball is going to be slipped through. Looking to take advantage of a very wounded CD Faialense side. And it's going to be a long drive back to Cambridge, I can tell you that much. Looks like it's going to be Evan Southern and Jake Keegan getting set to come on. As Hunter Morris off of his line. Obi having made one save tonight, the goalkeeper for Hearts.
Just a bit of a sample size of how explosive this Hearts of Pine side can be through their front three. Washington, Liotti, throw Ollie right in there as well. Valletta, players that do not need a second invitation to be direct within their movement.
So Varea is going to be one of the players who substituted off in addition to Liotti. 2 of the 3 goal scorers. Hence the warm reception as they make their way to the bench. And while a lot of people will say that this is a game that Hearts of Pine are supposed to win, there's no supposed to when it's your first ever game as a club, because you have no idea what the group looks like in a competitive setting. You have no idea what the nerves are going to do and exactly what the opposition is going to look like when it's an amateur club. And again, it's easy to sit back and say, well, they're doing it against a side who simply go out and play on weekends and train a couple times a week if they're lucky. But the fact of the matter is that Varea, Liotti, and the entire starting 11, from the moment the referees said, go, Ricky, they were up to the challenge, and there was no way they were going to drop this game on opening night in their club's history.
Speaks about the quality and the standard that Bobby Murphy and the culture that he's trying to build here. No matter who we play against, no matter the opposition, no matter the place or competition, we're going to go at this game, and we're always going to be the team that's going to take it to our rivals. No nonsense in the way they've approached this game. And if you are Bobby Murphy, you have to be really pleased with having 2 of your front 3, seeing the ball hit the back of the net. Just going to do a world of good for their confidence as they approach league play. Good ball.
All right, with a fantastic ball from Messer, who just recently scored the free kick. Fakes the delivery. Now clips it towards the back post, but nobody's there for Portland. It was a clever idea, but too tight in the end. Green able to fizz it in. For Southern, now here's Poon-Andron. So is this performance from Hearts making you want to make your maiden voyage to the great state of Maine?
You come with me.
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
As long as it's not in February.
Yeah, 100%. I can't do the cold.
Well, I do have a
Great touch.
week or two in Portland on my bingo card here. During the summer months, of course. Here comes Pine again. And this is fizzed into the middle. Awkward here for Faialense. And eventually collected again by Green. Messer. Little 1-2 with Ollie Wright. Messer again trying to send it in.
Been really impressed with Hearts applying just the willingness to get themselves in an attacking position, especially through that front three. How many times have we seen this ball being sprayed wide and someone crashing near post, far post, top of 6? See, the want is there, the want to score goals.
Ollie Wright wanted it back. A little bit of frustration from him. Good idea from Messer. Washington, crunching challenge in the middle of the field. It's Alessandro Negri going to ground for Paul Correa's side. Poon-Andron again. Pops out for Wright. Quick feet. Lays it off. Langlois still with it. And had anybody taken a half a step, they might have been in on goal. Keegan trying to find his fellow substitute, Evan Southern. Keegan has bounced around to a number of different League One sides. Eventually dealt with by the Hearts back line. Big collision in the middle of the park, and that should be a foul against Faialense, and it will be. It was Leahy who's a little overzealous heading into the challenge.
Already on a yellow card, Leahy needs to be really careful as he just goes over the top of Keegan. Just so much responsibility for Leahy to cover so much ground as a lone pivot player in front of that back line.
And now we're going to get Hearts playing the ball out to stop the play for one of their injured comrades over on the far side of the field. So riddle me this, Ricky. If you were a member of CD Faialense and obviously it didn't go your way in the U.S. Open Cup, you probably took today off from work. You might have even taken yesterday off. Are you going back into work tomorrow?
Depends what time we get back. 9 hours of sleep, you need it.
9 hours every night?
Isn't that, or 8 hours, there you go. But no, I wouldn't go back. I'll have a long weekend.
Okay.
Reward myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going back, you're clocking in?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm a glutton for punishment because if I won the game, I would then give myself a little bit of a reward. But my mindset is, if we got drilled 4-0 or potentially 5 or 6, I'm not rewarding myself with anything. But that's just me. I'm a bit of a lunatic in that sense. Like, I don't deserve nice things if I'm on the losing side of the scoreline. So we're going to see a trio of substitutions, but none more important than Khalid Hershey. And he's the first ever Mainer to sign for Hearts. He's the only Mainer on the roster. He was the MVP of the Hearts of Pine Combine, native of Lewiston, played at Lewiston High School, and now making his debut in the first ever game for the club.
And number 4.
That's not to take away from the other substitutes, such as Samuel Camacho, 28-year-old from Finland, spent most of his career there playing in the lower divisions. He comes on and replaces Nathan Messer, who had a stupendous strike to make it a 4-goal game. Shandon Wright also onto the scene, replacing Jaden Jones-Riley. Wright played for Albion San Diego and Nisa back in 2021. But what a moment for Khalid Hershey. I mean, Ricky, the concept of living in a place where there's no professional team, there's no role models or mentors to have or anybody to really look up to. And while you're still able to play and still fit, you get the opportunity to play for the first ever club in the state's history. It's a pretty spectacular moment.
What a moment it is for that young man. Homegrown, to represent city, state, family. These are the little moments that make a massive impact in your, obviously, your motivation as well to continue on breaking down barriers. Great to see it.
And there's probably going to be some young man or young girl in the stands who's able to see that and say, that's somebody who grew up in the same neighborhoods that I do. That's somebody who also wears Maine proudly on their sleeve and on the badge and can one day also aspire to be like Khalid. And those moments are important. They might sound cheesy or cliche, but Ricky, I'm sure when you were growing up, you had people that you looked up to in and around the area that you grew up in. And it's easy when it's right in front of you to be able to visualize it because you quite literally see it in front of your face. And now the young Mainers are going to have that opportunity here with young men like Khalid Hershey.
It's that belief system saying he did it, why can't I? Yes, with a lot of hard work and belief and a good support system around you, anything is possible. But to be there first, what a moment it is for Hershey.
And the real cherry on top would be Hershey getting a goal. But let's not get greedy. Angeron stepping up. Or pardon me, that's Hershey. This crowd erupting every single time Hershey touches the ball. And you can't really blame him. Nice little tip of the shoulder from Ollie Wright. He's been one of the best players on the field tonight.
He's smooth, very technical. Also aware that the space is where you want him to operate in. How many times have we seen him? Nice little back heel.
Good football here from Hearts. Another opportunity here for Hearts, but that opportunity is snuffed out by Lucas Verge. He's able to pick off what was a rather mediocre delivery.
Have your attention, please, with Meredith Winter. Meredith Winter, Please go to the ticket box office.
What do you think they want with Meredith?
She win a raffle? Maybe? Or
possible.
she's in trouble.
Either one. I'm sure your name was called over the loudspeaker.
Never.
In school growing up.
Never.
Ricky, would you please come to the principal's office?
I was the line leader, the door holder.
Were you a hall monitor as well?
I was.
Oh, God.
Safety patrol is what we called
I
it.
knew there was a reason I didn't like you.
You're a bad kid?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't an
You
angel.
got in
Let's put it
trouble.
that. Yeah, a few times. Yeah. A few notes that I was forced to give to my own mother.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Definitely talking in class is one of them.
What makes you say that? Samuel Camacho was down for Hearts, and that'll give Bobby Murphy an opportunity to talk to some of his guys as they're going to see this out 4-0. Most dangerous lead in soccer, some might say. No, I can't even get a chuckle out of you for that one?
That was,
Bringing it full circle.
That was
Come
okay.
on. All right.
We can do better.
Tough crowd. Take a look at some scores going on around the rest of the tournament right now. South Georgia Tormenta 1-0 up on Harbor City. Forward Madison 1-0 up on Duluth, and that game is in the 55th minute. Duluth suffering a red card.
Don't forget, fans.
Carolina Core 1-0 up on Soda City.
Hearts players will be signing autographs down on the sidelines, so stick around.
Who on Hearts would you want to sign
And
your forehead?
congratulate the players and coaches and
Hershey.
welcome them to
Hershey?
Maine.
You?
Yeah, that's fair. I think Nathan Messer.
Okay.
Wicked left peg, you know. Great goal. Ran straight over to the heart of the supporter section, no pun intended.
He's going to be a fan favorite for sure.
A little bit of concern here for Samuel Camacho. Gingerly walking off the field right in front of the Hearts bench as well. Nice little flick, but dealt with by Hearts. Leahy brings it down and keeps it moving for Faialense. Plenty of room to play. A little bit porous here defensively from Bobby Murphy's group coming off of the brief injury, but of course are operating with 10 at the moment. Trying to decide exactly what to do with Samuel Camacho, whether to sub him off, and he just came on about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Hearts will continue to chase. Faialense trying to see if they can bring something positive back to Cambridge. Save made in front, stabbed in, still loose. And the clean sheet is kept. Ollie Wright looking for some sort of support. Right now, unconfirmed 4 minutes of stoppage time to wrap this one up.
Hypothetical for you. You're a player at CD Faialense.
Yep.
You lose 2-1, but you score the goal. Do you go to work?
No.
No.
No. Actually, yeah, I'm probably still going to work. That would be selfish if I went to work, especially with my explanation earlier. Yeah, I'd go into work. It's not all about me. We lost the game. It doesn't matter if I scored.
A bike. No?
I can't pull off a bike. This one hooked in. Header is won by Faialense, and again covered up by Hunter Morris. Looks like Bobby Murphy is probably just going to stick with the 10 that he has on the field right now. And therefore, it's going to feel like Faialense are playing a man up. And that's certainly what it looks like.
Second time in a matter of minutes that the two center backs of Hearts of Pine have gotten beat from a ball being played in from a wide area of the field. Once that ball goes wide, if you are Vinberg or Green, your hips need to be able to see the service, but also the oncoming runs. Second time they've been caught flat-footed. And Morris, big-time saves.
It certainly would put a damper on the party for Hearts if they were to give up a goal and lose the clean sheet that they've certainly worked hard to keep, and a lot of that coming from the pressing up front early on in the game and making life difficult for Faialense. And Morris will just be able to see this one out of play as we are knocking on the door of the 91st minute. And what has been, dare I say, almost a perfect night here in Lewiston for the brand new club playing in their first ever competitive game. So I mentioned the pizza and the beer that Faialense like to enjoy after they play a game. Do you think there's pizza and beer waiting for them on the bus afterwards?
Pizza, yes. Beer, no.
No? Okay.
What do you think's in the locker room for Hearts of Pine?
Orange slices and bananas.
Recovery shakes?
Recoveries. You got your first ever league game coming up in about 10 days. You can't be going crazy just because you won one U.S. Open Cup game. Business to sort out. This volley taken on the first time, and Hunter Morris was left sprawling. Faialense are claiming that took a deflection. It certainly looked like it, but the call is a goal kick.
But again, it's the same sort of action that's caused some issues. Notice the hips between Green and Vinberg. They have no idea about the runs, and that definitely does take a deflection. Mulcairn has been at the thick of everything since coming onto this field. He's been a big target for Faialense. Something that if you are Bobby Murphy, you have to be aware and fix those wrongs, since once league play comes.
Mulcairn, one of the veterans of this group at 33 years of age. Ollie Wright will get there first. Pass was a little bit out of the reach of Punandran. And Green will go all the way back for Morse. Khalid Hershey providing some of the pressure and providing the foul as well. Remember, we've got some late games going on as well tonight, or one game, I should say, in general, as the offside flag is up, and that's going to be Tacoma Defiance against amateur side Washington Athletic Club. Yours truly and Ricky Lopez-Espin will be on the call. Make sure you tune into that game as well if you're still feeling you haven't gotten your Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup fix by the end of this game. And we were talking with the head coach slash player of Washington Athletic Club, who's at the ripe old age of 40, and he is part of the roster. So he more or less said this. He goes, I am eligible to play and I'll be dressed, but if I'm on the field, then there's a real problem.
There's a problem. Should not see the field. What a conversation that was.
Meanwhile, Tacoma Defiance, of course, operating in MLS Next Pro. They are the feeder team for the Seattle Sounders. They've produced some mighty fine young talent over the years, originally known as Seattle Sounders 2. And the supporters for Hearts of Pine can certainly feel it now. Cleared away by Green. Final moments here in Lewiston. Almost a complete performance, but a goal would spoil it just a little bit here from Faialense. And they're knocking on the door again. Nodded towards goal. And the bicycle clearance away in acrobatic fashion for Sean Vinberg. Here comes Faialense once more. Picked off by Hershey. Here's Ollie Wright, and that's going to do it full time. Maine has seen its first ever professional soccer club get its first ever win in its first ever game. 4-0 is the final score. 2 goals from Azad Liadi, a goal from Walter Varela that will live forever in club history, and a stunning free kick from Nathan Messer. And Portland Hearts of Pine, in their first ever game and their foray into Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, advance into the second round of the competition at the expense of CD Faialense, who are making their own debut in the competition tonight. And what a night it was here in Lewiston. Ricky Lopez-Espin, your thoughts on it all?
Never in question for Bobby Murphy and his side, the way that they approached this game. Professionalism at the top class. They wanted to go after them. They wanted to make them uncomfortable. They did that. And once they got their opportunities in front of net, they were ruthless. Fantastic result, fantastic moment. And Hearts of Pine advance into the second round.
And we'll take a look at how it all went down. If you are just joining Well, a historic night in the state of Maine, and the supporters got what they came for. A win, a clean sheet, and a boatload of goals. For our entire crew here at US Soccer and my broadcast partner, Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score from Lewiston is Hearts of Pine 4, CD Faialense 0, and it will be Hearts of Pine marching into the second round of this competition. Have a great night, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.